An adventure, story number 7. One day in Milmish, New York, Jack and Mara woke up. Mara was tugging on Jack. They went to a secret place and found a rocket ship and went to the moon. Where do you want to go first? Jack asked. I don't know, let's just jump. Luckily, we have spacesuits. Yeah. Jack and Mara found a house with a force field around it. They went into it very suspiciously. When they got in, they saw a hamster on the right and a cat and a dog on the left. What the heck? Jack exclaims. Shh, somebody obviously lives here, whispers Mara. Maybe you're right, says Jack. They looked for something very special. As they creeped through the house, they saw a man watching TV. How does he even have satellite? Jack wonders. I have no idea. Mara, this is really weird. I know. This guy has satellite, a dog, cat, a hamster, and plussies in his underpants. As Jack and Mara found what they were looking for, they snuck out of the house and got to the teleporter. It's broken, screams Mara. How do we get back home? Jack and Mara were stuck in space, and the guy had all the materials they needed. Jack and Mara went back to the house, and then the man finally caught them. What are you kids doing here? He yelled. Jack and Mara ran into a room and tried to find the key. He finally found it, and they got out and rushed out of the house into the rocket ship and went back home. That was a long adventure, Jack sighs. So now that I've finished the original version of the story, here's the version I wrote. One early Saturday morning in a small town of about 3,000 people called Milmish, New York, a secret location between Queens and Brooklyn, right outside of Highland Park on the Sunnyside Avenue, the third house from the end. This is where Jack and Mara Brewster were sound asleep. Jack and Mara are twins and best friends. They do everything together, such as watching Hot Rod or brushing their teeth together. Everything is a competition from who can eat the fastest to who can fall asleep first. Jack, the older one by only 37 seconds, has blonde hair with green eyes and freckles. He loves water polo and eating cheesecake. Mara is a brunette with Harry Potter-style glasses and brown eyes. She loves taking her cats on the walk to the beach. Everyone knew everyone since this town was so small. Mara suddenly woke up. She was excited for the day. She and Jack were going on an adventure. Mara tugged on Jack until he finally woke up and rolled out of bed. They decided that they were going to their favorite museum, the Museum of Flight. This museum was their favorite because of how close it was to their house and all of the cool aircrafts inside. There were all kinds of aircrafts you can think of. Helicopters, fighter jets, 747s, you name it, they have it. It was one of the hot spots in Milmish when they got to the Museum of Flight and found a rocket ship just sitting there unattended. Jack somehow thought it would be a good idea to go inside the rocket, so Mara went along, of course. When they got aboard the rocket ship, Jack and Mara saw a whole bunch of buttons and dials that they had no clue what any of them did, except the one that said teleportation device on it. Jack pressed just about all the buttons because that's just what boys do. He did not think it could do any harm since they're in a museum, and why would a rocket ship be able to fly if it's supposed to be for show? Then the whole cabin lit up like a Christmas tree. Green, red, and white flashes of colors everywhere. Suddenly, they felt the room shake. Jack and Mara were jerked around left and right. The rocket ship was moving. Jack and Mara quickly sat down and strapped themselves in because they knew it was going to be a bumpy ride. There was a place to enter in where you wanted to travel. Somehow they decided to go to the moon, because why not, Jack claimed. The journey to the moon seemed to take forever. Jack and Mara saw asteroids flying past their ship. They thought they were going to get hit. When trying to actually land the aircraft for about 20 minutes, Jack found a button that said auto land on it. The landing was a little rough. The whole spacecraft shook, so many things around were flying and bouncing off walls. After landing directly on the moon, Jack asked, "Where do you want to go first?" I don't know. Let's jump, Mara exclaimed. Luckily, we have spacesuits. Yeah, squealed Jack while jumping out of the rocket ship. It was almost like we were sinking in water because of how slowly they were falling towards the ground. As they were falling, they stared at the stars and how brightly they were shining. Jack and Mara bounced around for a while just investigating the moon and everything on it. The moon had craters covering the entire thing and was a dark purplish color. There were no signs of life up there yet, but Jack and Mara were determined to find something. Suddenly, Jack sees something shining in the distance near a great crater. They both go towards it. They find out that it is a key. It's covered in gold with the initials BG written on it. Jack puts it in the pocket of his spacesuit. When they both look up, they see what might be a house in the near distance. Jack and Mara followed a blinding light that led them up to the house. It looked as if it had a weird green glow around it. It looked like a half-blown bubble wrapped around the entire house. The house itself was gigantic. The house was so big it looked like a castle. It was at least 3 stories tall, red brick all over, 50 to 60 windows. The grass was perfectly green and freshly cut. The gardens with flowers of many different colors packed in tight. A balcony at the very front of the house that was big enough to fit an entire elephant on it. It had a grill, table, chairs, a TV, shuffleboard, and board games on it. There was Chutes and Ladders, Monopoly, Candyland, Sorry Sliders, any game you could possibly think of. A twirly slide came off one side of the balcony and went directly into the swimming pool that was at least 10 feet deep. As we got closer to the house, you could see dolphins swimming in the pool. Are we dreaming? Jack asked. I don't think so, said Mara, a little confused and in shock. The force field didn't keep any humans out, so Jack and Mara were able to walk through it. When Jack and Mara entered the force field, they got up to the door of the house. They decided to knock. After knocking a couple times and waiting a while, nothing happened. No one answered. They decided to try and go in. They turned the doorknob, and it clicks. It's unlocked. They walked in very suspiciously and quietly. As soon as they take their first steps inside, what they see is a little unusual. There's a hamster on the right and a dog and a cat on their left. When they walked down the hallway a little further, there was an opening on the left that led into the living room. Jack and Mara peeked around the corner quietly and saw a man sitting in a red, beat-up, reclining chair watching TV. How does he even have satellite? Questions Jack. I have no idea, claims Mara. Mara, this is really weird. I know, Mara says frantically. This guy has a satellite, a dog, a cat, a hamster, and he's in his underpants. Jack and Mara decided that they found enough of an adventure for one day, so they snuck out of the house and got to the ship. When they got to the ship, they realized that they didn't even have enough gas to get home. Then Jack remembered about the teleporter. They ran over to the control system and pressed the teleportation device button, and a loud alarm went off, alerting them that the teleporter was unable to function. It's broken, screams Mara. How will we ever get back home? Jack says while shaking. Jack and Mara were stuck in space. They both decided that they could go back to the house and try and find supplies to fix the teleporter or get some gas. They hustled back to the house. When Jack and Mara got to the house, they carefully turned the doorknob and pushed the door open without making a sound. They snuck inside quietly and shut the door. They looked for a garage so they could look for some tools, even though they weren't really sure what needed fixing in the first place. When they passed the living room, they saw the man was sitting in the chair sound asleep. Jack and Mara headed down along the hallway in search for something to fix their rocket ship. They got to the end of the hallway and found nothing. On their way back towards the front of the house, they passed the living room again. This time, the man was not there. Where did he go? Mara exclaimed. Suddenly, a loud voice yelled, What are you kids doing here? When they turned around, they saw a man standing behind him. He has to be as tall as a giraffe, with brown hair, green eyes, and tattoos all over. He reeked of vinegar and dirt. Jack and Mara were so frightened that they froze in their tracks. The man grabbed Jack and Mara by their hoods and threw them into a small closet. They heard the door knock lock behind them. Jack and